Too much preamble.
Chat knows what's going on.
All right,
right?
I'm in game. We should have laptop audio here. We're gonna go over Ullr first, the glorious one. So again, we had been on a couple months ago talking about some of the model updates for Ullr. He is looking really, really great here. We got, of course, your classic arrow. You got your 2. I'm not gonna fire the 3 yet because we've got some +1s here.
Oh, nice. That's right.
You got your stand switch.
Yeah, I think that one of the most important things in the development for Ullr, for like all the designers were really making sure, aggro and pawn specifically, was that the transition between the abilities, the transition between the stances, it needs to feel fluid, right? It needs to feel good. Otherwise, you're just not having a good time as Ullr.
Yeah.
So that was like very keenly, just an eye was always on that, no matter what.
Cool. All right, well, let's get into it. And I guess, first of all, of course, Ullr going to be full strength scaling. He's going to be playing the carry role. He's got his classic passive here, of course, reducing the cooldowns whenever you stand swap. The ability 1 in arrow stance, of course, is your, that's a bug. Oh, never mind. We've got the quotation marks for the opposite ability, because this is our first stance switcher in Smite 2. I wasn't used to the tool switcher.
Yes.
I just thought about that. So you've got your bow fire here, and it also has the axe stuff in the tooltip as well, even if you're not in the stance, which I think is a really big quality of life.
Deals
thing.
damage.
Yeah, nice.
Same damage, same scaling.
And then I will stand swap for your thrown axe. You've got your stun there.
1 and
as
1.
well.
And again, like as we talked about a little bit already, like Ullr is one of those most muscle memory of gods in Smite 1.
It's
like,
so important.
He's a super high skill cap character. He's very hard to play at the highest level, but he's really fun to play even if you're not great, and you can still do some things, So a lot of getting Ullr right. Somebody in chat says, playing Ullr is an admission that you're sweaty. I wouldn't say that. I think you're going a little too far. But no, I think it's
No, he's right.
it is a getting
Nobody
Ullr to
just
feel
like
right.
casually plays
The
Ullr,
most
brother.
important thing for Ullr to be good.
If you're
at
playing
Smite
Ullr,
2,
you're
because
getting
He
blink.
already just has such a great iconic.
You're playing
look,
him in
making
solo lane. You're
massive
building the
sweeping
same build.
changes Was not the play for a god like this, who's already uber complicated.
Yeah.
And is so.
Hey,
beautiful.
Bakar, thank you for
And that was one of
the gifted sub, brother.
When we poured over Ullr and we thought about
Thank
what
you so much.
+1s are going to be, it didn't just immediately add.
Thank you so much.
Well, what
Two.
is damage output too, right? Because like he's
Attack
got
speed
a
on his
really
2.
strong combination of abilities that ends up kind of deleting.
His 2
characters,
didn't give attack
right? So if
speed
we
before,
can make
did it?
that even easier to do, that's something that we'd be very careful about. So you'll see the +1s coming up. And do we want to get into them?
Yeah, let's get right into it. Let me switch to arrow stance, and let's start talking about the +1.
Yeah.
So the +1 for Ullr is on his 3 for
Yes.
in
for
both
of his
stances.
stances.
So
On
what
his
will
3.
happen is whenever you fire the 3, I'll do it in arrow stance first. He leaves behind a little deployable.
Little ice arrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then if I stand swap while
There we go. So
the
that's
deployable is
trigger
out,
mechanism.
in bow stance, you will create a field that slows enemies. I'll show that off here. That way people in chat can see
You can see both
all the
parts. Of
details.
Activate the bow
So it
while the
slows
axes are
enemies,
deployed.
for
Oh,
3 seconds, I guess.
But if I am in axe stance and I leap, again, I've got my axes
Behind
there
your
on the
axes
ground.
behind you.
But if I stand swap, there's a little bit of an explosion, and any gods in that area will have their protections reduced.
Yeah, their physical protections
if
are
you
reduced.
jump on them and then
Yeah,
swap
it's not Scotty Ice
stances.
chat. They aren't
Right,
going
jump on them,
It's
swap
just a little bit of a
stances,
slow.
protection
A little bit of a slow.
reduction,
Yes.
or
Yeah, so
3
this
swap
combination of stuff is really
stances,
important, because like I
a
said, we didn't want
slow.
to just increase the damage output directly with Ullr, but we wanted to provide. There's a couple of different directions that was kind of that we wanted to make sure that was there. And Agro did a really good job talking to the ambassadors, talking to the design team, making sure that we understood how to get Ullr into a fun place without just making his combos necessarily just stronger. So really what it ended up being was versatility. In fact, you'll be able to realize that like the standard combination of, throwing your axe to start with a stun and then doing your 3-1 bladed arrow, hail
This
arrows,
just adds
bladed
a little bit
arrow
of
combo
utility, right?
isn't
A
directly
slow and a
impacted by
proc
either
shred
of those
on
functions. In
his
fact, it's almost
stance
the
switch
opposite, where if you don't feel
after
really
his
confident in
3,
throwing your
right?
thrown axe, you can start off with that bladed arrow, switch stance, and slow the area instead, creating the zoning tool to make your thrown axe a little bit easier to hit, right? So it's almost going the opposite direction,
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, now you have a little bit more versatility there, you've got a little bit more utility there. And the same
What
thing,
other
if you wanna go
+1 would
all
you
in
give
and
Ullr
wanna just,
without
like,
breaking him,
Jump
though?
in there, go in, start off the combination, throw your
The
axe, stun them,
+1s are
and then
never
get
supposed to
physical
be a
protection
big
shred to start things
difference.
off. It's a little bit more risky, but you at least have it's not a direct influence.
Keep in
into
mind the
normal
ambassadors
combat.
and
It's
the
just a little
devs
bit
talk
more
about what
options, a little bit more
+1s would be
things you
good
can
for a
do.
very long
And-
time in the character
I
development
love this note
stage.
from here.
And
Agro
anything
just
that was
specifically said, Ullr players
suggested,
love to
like,
press
try
buttons.
and give a
Well,
+1
now
to Ullr
you're-
without
now when
making
you're
him
just like
broken.
flicking between
Right?
stances, you're even getting a little bit of a benefit. from
Any
it.
more
I
damage,
believe one of
broken.
his
Any
trackers will
additional
allude
like
to that.
Oh, yeah, is
movement
that
speed
right?
and getaway, like he's always just safe because he can just have cooldowns so low. Stun, jump away, blinks.
We are
right?
on the worst
You
Yeah.
mess with
Or
any
I
damage,
saw
he's
it.
busted.
Yeah.
You give him any more CC, although they do apply a slow, he's busted. Any additional attack speed or damage, busted. Right? It's tough.
Yeah, it should feel pretty darn close to Smite 1.
If you port him over 1-for-1 without a +1 while everyone else has gotten +1s, you're gonna have endless bitching, brother.
Doesn't feel great. Please let us know.
There we go.
How do you use that combo? You throw your 3 and stance swap, and they're slowed. So you hit them at a max distance or whatever. You hit them at a max distance or catch their dash at the end of the 3 and then stance swap to your axe. You're now chasing them while being faster while they're slowed.
Yeah.
Give you just a little bit of extra utility in Ullr's kit
Exactly.
to help you out whenever you're dueling those.
So
opponents.
Neith backflips and tries running away.
That's
You
a
hit
dual
her
on-purpose shout out
after
to
you
actually.
jump on Neith. You stance swap. She then backflips.
we will eventually
right?
have an
You then
aspect
hit her
for
with your
Ullr
3.
as
She's
well,
now slowed.
so,
You press your 2. You
that
now
will add
have
more to the kit.
slowed her while giving yourself attack
you,
speed,
Ullr
or sorry,
is-
movement speed with your
Well, that is
2.
Ullr.
Then you
I'm
catch
gonna
up to her, and now you can
restart the
axe,
game, and
right?
we can go into
So it's like
Geb.
it's not a big
Clumsy,
change.
I know you
And
took
it's not
point on
intended to
Geb,
be a
so
big
while I
change.
do the
It's just
things,
add a
you
little
wanna
bit of
give the
utility
chat,
to the kit
the rundown
without
on
adding damage.
how we
Damage is going to
approached
break
Geb and
him.
what we were thinking
More
when
hard
it came
CC
to
or something
doing
like that
this
is going to
work.
break him.
Absolutely. You know, it's
More
really
attack
tough when you have some
speed
of these guys
or
that are just,
power
like,
when swapping
already
stances.
rock
That's going to
solid,
break
right? Like,
him.
you know,
It's got to be a
Come on,
small bit. It's just got to be a small bit of like
Yeah, we just wanted to
utility.
make sure that-
I know, right?
We wanted to make sure that he rolled
Prot
out into
shred and a
Smite
slow
2.
on his
And-
3,
and-
right? That's it.
Stop.
People had a lot of suggestions in the ambassador
It's a
and they
cow
just
close
literally
to the
all
unit. Sorry.
they literally all just
Yep.
broke Ullr, right?
Anyways, so yeah, we wanted to make sure that we.
Ascension pack.
Oh, you want to do something?
That's how
yeah,
ambassador. That's how the ambassador
Let's roll
and
on
dev
that.
playtest
Okay,
are like.
you
We're
have to
bringing
wait for
Ullr
that.
in. We need some ideas for +1s. We're thinking of this, and then Final K will be like, yeah, maybe
Gosh,
this,
you
and
got
then
so
somebody
caught
else,
up
you know,
in
Rexy will
that,
come
in
in.
the
It's like, yeah, but
matchups.
maybe this, and then like 2
Here we
other people
go.
will come in and be like,
All
yeah,
right,
but
so
like
Ullr,
doesn't that
that
just make
case
him
is
busted
looking
for this
great with
reason?
the
People will be
model
like, yeah, that's
+3.
true. It gets talked about for like
Hidden in the
weeks,
mastery
you know,
screen
with how do we
here.
add a
We got
+1 and
Shadow
something
Ullr.
interesting
All
without
that
making
looking
him
good.
the most annoying
First
character in the
tracker,
game to play.
Full combos. Number of times that you've hit an enemy god with thrown axe, bladed arrow, and hail of arrows within a short time.
Nice.
So, of course, rewarding those players who know the full combo are getting it off super consistently. It'll just be great to track on the loading screen.
Yeah, and I think that like one of the things I like
Being
about
able to
trackers is
jump
they can
on
help
somebody,
point
one,
new players
swap
into,
stances,
like, what he
decrease
should
their
be doing as this
protections,
character, right?
Absolutely.
And it's
to
like,
then do
oh, I
your
didn't even realize that I
combo,
should be doing this combo.
right?
Now
A
that I'm
prot
tracked,
shred.
maybe I'll try it. So,
But you
know.
only get it by jumping on somebody,
says,
so you
"I'm gonna keep
have
that
to
one
use your
0."
jump and land on them in that area, then swap in
no,
order
I
to
like that
get
either.
the actual. Because they have to be in that
Here.
circle when they get the prot shred.
Your
So you have to
objective
jump
destroyed,
on somebody
your
and
god
then
assist,
stance swap, which means you now
and then,
no
of
longer have
course,
an
the button
escape.
masher
The
tracker.
Right?
button masher.
Seconds reduced from your cooldowns by weapon.
What were the
mod.
changes they made to
just
Ullr?
smashing buttons.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That makes sense.
No, it's fine.
It's
You
great.
don't have to think every
Then
+1
we've
is
got
good.
our
I'm not
classic
saying you're wrong.
Onyx
I'm just
looks good.
explaining the thought process behind
cool.
what we
I
could
like
have added,
the
what they did add, and when I say
I don't
we,
know
it's
if you
not
can
me,
call it,
not me,
like
but
the-
like, you know.
the layer, the texture
Ullr,
on the hat.
the changes on
Yeah,
his
it's
3, if
Yeah,
you
it's
throw
really
your
glossy.
3, it'll leave a circular area
You've
around
got
where your
open.
3 landed as your bow stance, and then when you stance
Yeah,
swap,
looking
it will
sick. I love the
explode
open
that
skins. They're
arrow
my
and
favorite
slow
thing.
Oh, see the
people
cloak from the back?
for a brief second if they're still in that
there
3
we go.
range.
Nice.
And then same
Stars
thing,
all
but
over
equal
the
the
screen.
opposite. If you jump on
Alright,
somebody,
and then
you land and
equal
create an
emote,
area
you know, we gotta
effect
get
as
our
well.
names on,
And the
so,
moment you stance swap after that area is
Figure out
created,
how-
you
Oh,
shred their
it's a
protection.
switch. too.
Nice. That's so smart.
Yes,
What?
it's great.
It's a good one.
That's a really good
So,
meme.
yeah, I think that like
That's a
just
really
so
good. That's a
in,
really good
in
meme.
They're
the
just
Ascension
make it
passes
so
are, like,
worth. Yeah.
they make me just like even if we didn't have
That's
anything else in
that's a
Ascension passes, I would
really good
probably,
emote.
like, buy
That's
them.
right,
Right,
yeah.
global emotes. I think they're just so fun.
Incentivizing them to play
We need
aggressive,
get the
exactly.
jackets where
Right?
you can equip multiple global
Oh, yeah.
emotes.
Like
but
you're
that's
only
already
getting the
list.
prot
It's
shred, which is
all
going to
of
help
them are
your
too good.
damage,
I
but
need, like,
only if
8
you
at
are
a
committing
time.
your jump
Yeah,
onto
basically,
them
we
and
wanna
keeping
make
them
it where,
in
like,
range
like,
as
when
you
put your global
switch.
emote,
And then the
you can do,
3,
like,
you have to
VX
hit it
V1,
first of all,
VX2, VX3,
and then you're only only going to get the slow after you stance swap again, which means you then have to engage, hit your axe, or jump to get there again. So.
And it's something that we want to do. We just haven't done it yet. So soon, hopefully, For those of you who want to global,
but yeah, if anybody has ideas,
yes, I know.
You know, for +1 for gods coming out, like you can always give them to me because once they start talking about those gods, you know, we can get a good idea on what people think.
Your god kills tracker.
How close do you have to be to pop the slow? You don't
badge,
have to be close at all. The second that you stand swap, regardless of where it is, it will pop it. You don't have to be on top of it. So you can throw a 3 at the max distance, swap, and they're slowed way up there. So that's what I meant by somebody jumps away. Like on her jumps away, you throw your 3, you hit him, stance swap to axe. It slows them at that max distance, and now you can run and chase them. Like, right? Let's say you jump on top of her, hit him with your 1, and then he jumps away. You then,
I'm just gonna do real quick.
so like you jump on her, you hit your axe, you stance swap, he beads and jumps away. You now don't have a jump or a leap to follow him, but you now hit your 3, and then stance swap again, blows up that area and slows him. You're now back in your axe stance. You press your 2, he's slowed. You have movement speed. Now you can close the distance again and try and catch up and fight.
They cost
that's a good
900 diamonds.
That's good, by the way.
Or they are payable with 50% legacy gems if you have legacy gems. So then it's 450 legacy gems, 450 diamonds, and you will.
Ullr could throw both axes, one the other, one stuns, the other like debuffs. That's interesting.
Pass. So you will be able to pay back
just
that,
like axe.
So.
And then we've got the card effects looking good here for Ullr. I believe this also will swap stance. The color will shift a little bit, and then you'll get some axes that kind of flow around the card as well.
That's cool.
I mean, obviously, I'm always speaking from the aspect that like I've seen Ullr played as well, like in flash tests or whatever, or I've seen it, you know, behind the scenes. So I've seen how people can use it. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I actually almost say like the jumping on somebody, axing them, then swapping stances, and that protection shred on top of the 1/3 damage they're taking after that. You mess with that anymore, and it's just you're right back to getting one combo.
Details and the rocks and everything.
Geb
is looking good. I love the foliage and stuff.
Yeah, you have to make sure the foliage that he carries on his back, you know, is still shipped.
That looks really nice.
Waterfalls going. He looks great.
The details on that, it's really hard to make a Geb model look good.
It's like,
you know what I mean?
High def Geb.
It's really hard to make like the aesthetic of Geb look good because it's literally just rocks and a little bit of grass, but like that genuinely looks good.
All right, so we can go in a different order than usual.
That actually looks great. Because I was actually concerned, not concerned, but I was like, how are they going to make the base Geb model look good?
There's really one big +1 feature, but he's got a little bit of love everywhere. Kind of.
And then I'm actually going to spawn an allied bot for when we get to it. All right, Clumsy.
Yeah, so starting things off, the passive got a bit of a change. It's got a bit of an upgrade and a double buff.
The art on the abilities looks great.
Fun for the Geb players. So
the texture.
For the Geb players. Part of playing Geb is having fun yourself, but your opponent's not having fun.
Right,
exactly.
yeah.
Because they're knocked up, they don't get to deal damage because they're shielded. You know, anyway.
So the critical strike bonus damage, we wanted to make sure that maintained part of the kit, and while that was pretty cool, we wanted to make sure that we played a little bit with that basic
of his max
attack
HP
damage.
from
So
a single attack.
Enemy god basic attack damage by
enemy
25%
god basic
on top
attack
of
damage is
the
decreased
critical
by
hit damage
25%
reduction.
and
So
critical
that means
strike
you're actually gonna be
bonus
taking normal
damage is
basic
decreased
attack
by
damage, not
65.
including the reduction we see there from crits unless the enemy gets a Deathbringer, because then that'll go over the bonus cap. But
That's a
on top
strong
of
ass
both of those
passive,
things,
brother.
that wasn't fun enough. We were just like, let's do something a little bit more spicy for Geb specifically, and that is the first part, which is Geb cannot take more than 20% of his max health from any singular attack. So you cracking Geb, he's going to be just shrugging it off.
Yeah.
You can only do that 20% damage. So whether that's basic attacks, right? If you're doing some hard-hitting basic attacks, it's already being reduced by him. If you get to that 20% threshold, well, you'll at least need to be doing 5.
Yes, there we go.
That
real
might
good.
need to get nerfed to like 25 to 30%.
I've been told.
Hey, we'll see.
Because that passive, like, think about yourself as like a damage Geb, to where you can never take more than 20% from, you know what I mean? Think about him as a mage, right? Full damage. It's like, you only have like 2,000 health. Well, you can't take more than 400.
That hasn't changed. But if you hover over the tooltip there, or I mean, I can also just say it out loud, all of the passive effects that you get also are given to the allies that are shielded by the 3.
Let's see if I can.
Yep. So
whoever
you're
you
shielding
3
yourself,
gets your passive,
you do not double up on the benefits, but it's mainly for the allies. So not only are they getting that health shield, but they're also getting Geb's, sturdy benefits. Yeah. pretty good.
You're
Another
giving
small
them
quality of life
the
thing is
passive
second
for the
ability.
duration that the shield
Shockwave,
is
you
on
can
them,
actually
meaning they're
fire
taking
while
less
casting,
critical
kinda like you
damage,
did
they're
with your
taking
attack.
less auto
Genetic
damage.
says it's balanced in chat.
Oh yeah, no, I was absolutely just taking Genetics' feedback on making sure that Geb felt balanced. So I think between him and me, we got it. 50%. That's what it's gonna be.
He can move while
saying
tooing.
Clumsy Knock can keep walking.
Yeah.
He can
Slow
keep
pace.
walking while
At a
tooing.
slow
He is
pace,
not
so you're
rooted in
not,
place
going
anymore.
Too crazy far.
You're slowed though.
But that's it's pretty fun. Another quality of life feature, which is a lot harder to see, is that there's a % health damage on the ultimates on Cataclysm. That in Smite 1 never affected non-gods, and now it does in Smite 2. Because I was just like, I was like testing it on a minion wave. I'm like, I'm not dealing any damage. And I was like, wait a second, why does this hit?
Right, yeah.
He's doing such a cataclysmic event. I'm like, why is this gods only? So now not only is it gods, but it's also enemy minions. It's also jungle bosses. It's not going to be structures though. Like that would be a bit silly. So not just the damage, but also the percentage health components. So both parts in Smite 2 now damage all different humanoids.
While
Secure
tooing.
those objectives with Gebalt now. You know?
Exactly. But anyways, the thing that people probably want to see is this actual +1 feature, not the other +1.
Yeah, all this other stuff is,
ones.
that's
those-
not enough. We
those-
need something that's it's real spicy,
yeah,
real special.
all right.
What do you have cooked up for us?
All right. Well, if you roll out after 3 seconds, when you reach max speed, you'll get a refire. And you'll be able to leap forward as a little boulder, jumping your way through the battlefield. You
It's
can
so
actually
good.
re-aim,
It's
and you'll
so
be able to
good,
kind of,
man.
like, 180
It's so
if you want to
good.
as well, and you'll be knocking up enemies. It's a very, very small amount.
You'll
Instead
knock
of
them
the
up instead of
knockback
knock
that
them
you would
away.
And can you can jump over geometry if
You
it's
can
long
jump over
enough?
geometry if it's far enough. We've had to nerf this a good bit, but it gives him a lot more versatility, and he's like, it almost is a way of making it so that
I
Geb
fucking
himself
love Geb,
doesn't
brother.
even, need a blink to initiate,
Yeah.
or if he wants to, get over those walls like we talked about and join the team fight.
He
now
might
you're
be a
jumping.
little
Now you've
OP.
got
You
the
might be
You're
100%
throwing
correct,
rocks,
brother. You might be correct. He
Oh,
might
yeah,
be quite a
just
bit
feels
OP.
like-
I'll be honest with you.
A little hop over the wall.
And I will say, like, in our internal playtests, he it seems like he works in a lot of roles now. Like, he's still probably best as a support, but especially with the aspect.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can actually toggle that on because I couldn't show that the other day.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
press
Do you
tab-
want to
yeah,
toggle
so
it on?
we
You want
added
to
it
talk about
to,
the
yeah,
aspect?
we added
we
it
have
to the
the
tab
menu
screen now.
is sick. So yeah,
Yeah.
toggle aspect on. So the aspect which we talked about the other day, but we didn't get to see, is your shockwave is now going to be in 360 degrees instead of a 90-degree cone in front of you. I think there we go. It's not going to knock up, but it's going to do full damage, and it's also going to reduce in cooldown for every enemy that you hit. So now we get the double up of the aspect in Geb.
Yeah,
So now
massive,
it's
and it
360
does reduce
degree
cooldown for every
2,
hit,
but it does
so
not knock up
it can be
anymore.
very
No
short
knock
cooldown.
up.
I
It's a
think
lot of
you're on reduced cooldowns right now.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah. Turn it off. And
Yeah, so you can see even just from those few enemies that he hit, it dropped in like around 3 seconds, and it works on minions too. So like when you're in wave,
No
when you're in
way.
assault, when you're in
No
jet lag,
shot.
and in the other game arena, right, where this game modes, there's loads of minions around and gods around, and you have some cooldown reduction. Yeah, it gets pretty good.
And
That
now,
being said,
basically, it also hits everybody that you would cataclysm. So you can
oh,
just-
it's a bigger range than
it's
Cataclysm.
a bigger range of cataclysm. Okay, so yeah, you definitely can cataclysm and hit everybody.
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah,
You can jump in,
Mhm.
cataclysm, and then
and
hit
then hit
everybody.
everybody. And then just keep smashing.
No
it's
knock
a
up
lot
on
of
the
fun.
two,
But
though. That's a big
as
deal.
we've tested around with, it's probably not the best in the Guardian role. Like, you're probably not going to go support your ADC and choose to not be able to knock up the enemies in front of you. Because that being, like, while the 360 degrees is really big, the 90-degree shockwave, like, is still really, really
Yeah.
easy to hit for, like, if you're just thinking about the dual lane. But
Yep.
it's a lot of fun.
And especially now that you can walk while casting it, you know?
Yes,
Oh, wait, can
exactly.
you walk while casting the 360? That's a little bit.
Yeah,
A little
yeah,
bit,
it's the
yeah.
same, like, 50% self-slow.
And
You're
it
no longer
seems like
breathing.
it's working the way that Agni's one does, where it kind of like ramps up and down. It's not just like instant, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's nice.
That's so good.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so
love
yeah,
Geb.
we're going to be seeing Geb roll out and then leaping into the battlefield. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be great. I didn't show off the knockback here. So that is still
So you
there,
either get the
but
big
you can opt
knockback
to
now,
leap
or
and
you can
knock
jump
up
into a
instead,
very
which
small
is
knockup.
super cool.
And then one of the things that we've mentioned a few times that we want to be careful about, that we're also including in some of the balance passes recently, is that we are taking the time to try and reduce a little bit of CC when we bring some gods from Smite 1 to Smite 2. So in this case, the shockwave's height is reduced a little bit, and the ultimate stun duration is reduced by a little bit. He's also technically gaining that knockup like by choice, so it's kind of like a trade-off there.
Right, yeah.
The other important thing, if you are playing with the +1, which I mean everyone's going to be, is that because you can, while you stop on an enemy god, if you're actually going through minions, you'll be able to get the damage through those minions and then hop back onto them to deal damage again. So that's the strat, guys.
It's really smooth to aim and like kind of do the 180 and jump back. It's cool.
Show me. Go through them and then jump backwards.
I mistimed it, chat. Don't look.
But you can do that. Good, you can even do that in the jungle. It all works out.
You can turn your camera completely around and jump backwards.
Is it the entire passive?
In case like they dodged you or something?
20%
Yep.
of their, okay.
All of those things.
And it's their hit points, not...
It should be their hit points unless things go drastically wrong.
Yeah, the ability art also updated. Thanks for noticing that, chat. I think it looks good.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It's a lot like brighter than it used to be, which I think is nice.
If the shield does not give item passives, that'd be pretty wild.
That would be wild. All right, well that is Geb. Clumsy, anything else about Geb +1s? Aspect coming to Geb, you know, as soon as he's in the flash test, which is really exciting. It's cool.
No, I think you know all those +1s and +1s and the aspects. I think we hit everything.
Nice, cool. Well, we should go through
asks, if the shield only has 5 hit points left, it will still apply the 20% hit point limit after the damage is applied. Or does the shield break first?
That's a good question.
We'll find out. Okay. you tell me on the flash test, PB. I would assume that it'd be the damage reduction and then it'll go through the shield, but like that's the amount of damage that you're taking.
And then the
it's not gonna like increase after the shield.
In terms of his scalings, he's
what's up, Corey? How you doing?
All in-spaced.
Okay.
And it's all
intelligence-based. Okay.
Very similar to Smite ones.
Cool.
Go through the abilities really quick and give chat time to screenshot.
He's not a hybrid guy. Other than his basic stats, of course.
People that are, this is a good question to answer real quick. Enable customs for flash tests. We're intentionally not enabling customs for flash tests right now just because we don't have a way to enable customs and not also let you pick Joust and Assault.
Yeah.
And we really want the testing to be focused on the Conquest map right now. So we have to make it be queued only. I understand it's a little bit annoying.
They're doing big things. Yo, Geb looks so fun. Right now. Geb looks so fun. Ullr didn't need much. Like his +1s are decent. Geb's +1s are fantastic.
Pass up for Geb.
Geb's +1s are fantastic. That little hop so you can choose.
Oh, yeah.
So basically,
Clumsy, walk us through it.
No, kill please.
I was going to give the quick version. So when a match starts, like when you're in the lobby and you're picking your god, you'll be able to pick, do I want to play the normal version of the god, or do I want to play the aspect version of the god? And it's one or the other. It's either the normal version or the aspect version. The aspect version usually changes 1 or 2 abilities and usually is like a bit of a role shift or a play style shift for that god. So for Geb, you can either play him with the normal cone knockup or you can play him with the 360 no knockup.
Yeah. I agree. I really don't
there's a bunch of different
too. I agree.
Like
I think you should be.
You can teleport to
I agree. I feel like you should be able to like hold the 2 to decide if you want to jump or just tap the 2. And I did ask that. I did ask like, hey, for her 2, could I like hold it if I wanted to do the bounce forward and just tap it if I just wanted it to go in place while I'm using it? And they said no, it's an entirely new coded ability, right? Like it's coded that way. So yeah. It's like also I agree though. I was not a fan of the +1 of Pele with the way it feels.
Something about the red trees makes me feel.
But now I've gotten used to it. Like I just tap my 3 first and then my 2.
It's got some vapor.
I tap my 3 first, then my 2 to bring it down to the normal thing too, and then I tap my 3 again because it's very responsive. So once I get used to it, it's not a big deal. But
traveled while in boulder form during rollout. So
once I got the muscle memory used to it.
We found a typo yesterday. You know,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But we can't because then we break Loke.
Oh, that's true.
Okay. It'll be there.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Oh, we've got the clap emote.
Oh,
not a fan.
Your objective.
Shadow skins are always hit and miss to me.
God assists Cataclysm. Number of times 2+ gods have been hit by Cataclysm. So
not a fan of the shadow skin on him. Those are always hit and miss to me. I'm either like, it's all right.
Ooh,
nice.
Fountains of gold. And I feel like Onyx being a stone on a god that is rock.
All right. When I first looked at it, I was like, man, but you know what? I don't know how else I would expect it to look. That's fine.
Oh my gosh.
All right, that's
That's my favorite.
That's pretty sick.
It's like
Opal wins.
That's
like
pretty sick.
Puking unicorn coming out of this.
That's pretty sick.
Great.
I don't know if how much I'll use it, but like
That's actually really
again,
cool.
I was like, I don't know if that one's gonna look good either. Okay, that looks pretty cool.
I was overwhelmed at first, but now I'm like,
He literally looks like an opal.
Right? Rolling around
leaping
everywhere.
around the walls. You know.
It looks like just
You
a Lisa
cannot
Frank
blink
sticker,
while rolling,
you know,
no.
like. Then we've got the
The
emote. Big oof. Big oof.
Okay, that one's kind of funny too.
Man.
They're killing it with these like extra cosmetics you get. By the way, if you, this is again looking at all these ascension passes. If you don't think this ascension pass is worth 450 diamonds and you get 450 diamonds back by completing it,
Your title Earthbound.
Ooh.
Nice.
Excellent game.
Excellent. God kills. Your master.
I know the aspect sounds strong, but I might want the knockup instead.
Damn. I love the like veins of gold.
Yeah,
that's
this one is sick.
I might like the
Cool. It's
knockup
like
instead.
marble.
Like
I
how
really
many
like
times
that.
are you really gonna
especially,
miss
like those veins of gold in the
the
feet are,
that
like,
that
really-
huge cone? You know what I
You've got,
mean?
like, the
If you
vine
blink
veins and
all,
you've got,
you're
like, the
hitting the
gold
whole
veins.
team with that
Yeah.
too. I might want the knockup more than I want the. But I do like how you have
We'll see if-
choices.
Waterfalls of milk.
I do like how you have
Nice
choices, but me
artifacts
personally,
for-
I
for
think
that.
I would
You
stick
got
with the knockup even
full
in the
castle,
damage roll.
Yeah.
Very peaceful.
Before